And we're in for game number 2 between SlipKn0T and CZ-Clan. And it really is, yeah, these are islands and quite interesting ones. So far, looking at the minimap, I don't see any kind of substantial problems with fishies. Maybe for green, because he could be fooled into actually building a rock in here, which won't be ideal at all. Yeah, here's just a few deep fish, and that's pretty much it. Nothing else, so that would be pretty sucky for him. And let's see if he really falls for it, or if he goes to the bottom. A bit more into the corner, but yeah, he might not really want to be all that adventurous, looking how he's on the flank, going to be facing his opponent Flavio Mine. So yep, let's see. Let's see. And it seems like that there's going to be yet another sling from SlipKn0T, so let's see if maybe CZs this time are going to be slinging as well. Otherwise, really a lot of fish in the corner on the left, so that's going to be quite hotly contested by the blue player and the green, as I've said a bit earlier. And for red player, very nice water. A lot of fish in here. Cannot really place a bad dog, so very nice to see. The same as for the teal player, who is also having quite a decent amount of fishes in here, also in the right corner, which is sweet for VH, but VH also mustn't fall for the trap, as there is a bit of nothingness behind him. So yeah, that would be kinda sucky, but otherwise not all that bad. Potentially what could be also a problem is if Gabi actually went for dogs into the middle. You can see that there's not really all that much of a fishes in here either, so that could be quite long returning times for the fishing boats, which wouldn't be idle at all, as it's all about the advance times and everything on islands. But let's see where the players are going to be placing all the docks. Otherwise, it seems like that actually Phage got a bit lucky, as he's having 2 relics on his mainland. That's actually a pretty big bonus, because this extra gold times 2 is not half bad, and this will most definitely prompt VH to go into faster castle, I would think. Because really, that's a big advantage to be had, and if he can survive long enough, that's most definitely going to be pretty big bonus for his for his game and his team overall. Kinda okayish positioning of the gold for the teal player. For the red one, also pretty much okay, not really any kind of problem if they somehow were happen to lose the water, so that's pretty nicely positioned. For the blue player, basically the same. This could be a problem in the Imperial Age, but yeah, that's pretty much it. You can see that he's building quite nicely house to protect the shoreline, protect himself from any kind of substantial or rather surprising landing. And his opponent, so far, not doing anything like that, just going for the boar and looking at the gold mines, also pretty much placement overall. So it seems like to be the theme basically for everybody. Often you see that at least one gold mine is very close to the water, which means basically that they need to win the water at all costs. This time it's not really the case, which is quite nice to see, as it's going to result in some proper game in the Castle Age and even in the Imperial Age probably. Interesting islands though, as between VH and Gabi there is one with double gold and pretty decent amount of woodline. So that's very nice to see, and definitely going to be a pretty big help to their team. In the middle, there's literally a lot of stone in here with some extra wood, and I think this is going to be a pretty crucial island, because who can conquer it and land it and build castles on it, of course, is basically going to be owning the path into the opponent's half of the map, and really, this is going to be a pretty important island for both of these clans. Interesting island at the bottom for basically follow your mind, and Yannick with just 1 gold, so that's similar to what SlipKn0T have, but slightly less gold on it, but otherwise not really all that much of a problem. And oh my, exactly what we were worried about happened, and Mars has fallen for the trap of actually building the dock into the middle in here. And even though it's not going to be all that much of a problem in the very beginning, a bit later it really will. And let's see where he's going to be building the second docks, because that's going to be the important part of the game. If he builds them at the back as well, yeah, that's going to be quite bad for him in the economy department. Otherwise, yellow, kinda, well, I was going to say defensive, but it's really at the bottom of the island, quite close to VH, which I think is basically meant to be cooperating with him. So that's probably going to be Gabi with VH fighting, or rather fighting together against their opponents, with VH building a dock also at the back. So far not at the front, so they are probably expecting that they should be the ones to be in a bit of a defensive. You can also see a Skull went for a bit of an aggressive dock, and a pretty bad placement of course, as he's having just a few short fish, and that's pretty much it, not anything else. Yeah, that was what we were talking about a bit earlier, that might be a bit of a problem. But that's always a risk, and he knew what he was doing. So yeah, he's probably hoping that it's going to be paying off in controlling the game with Galley Russian, I think. Also pretty aggressive dock from Yannick, literally into the middle of the map, and the blue is going to be placed in his dock. Where? Ah, at the back. Okay, into the corner. So yeah, that's a pretty good placement as well. It's kind of half aggressive into the green player, and of course he definitely wants to make use of all the fishies in here. So yeah, that's going to be the goal of his play. Looking at the civilizations, we have double Vikings and Japanese from CZ, whereas SlipKn0T are playing Huns, Japanese and Vikings. So that's really kind of signaling that CZ might be attempting a bit of a fun strategy with double Vikings into Galley Russian as they are advancing at 20 villages, whereas Gabi and VH are going to be advancing slightly faster, so they are probably going to be jumping into Fast Castle. But it's just 23. Well, not all that sure. You can see that Gabi is just going up, so she's probably going to be the one to Fast Castle, whereas for VH, that's not all that assured yet, and he might still want to join into just normal Galley Russian in the feudal age. So second dock's coming up, and third as well, for Skull into the middle of the map. He's most probably going to be joined by extra dogs by Yannick. Yeah, you can see that he's really been building absolutely everything under the farthest reach of his island, and with other players building where. Oh, still in the pocket. Well, that's unfortunate for the green player, as that's not going to result into any kind of good economy for him at all. Yeah, he should go a bit more to the bottom, a whole lot more into the bottom, as this is not really efficient for him at all. So, yeah, he definitely has to hope that his game is going to get better than this. SlipKn0T 3H right now, being quite surprised that actually CZs are already in the feudal ages. Not really expecting that, as they are advancing with just 20. Which I think is slightly unusual. You usually advance with a bit more, so that definitely is a pretty fast advance, and let's see how well that is going to work for them. That's red and blue. With blue having extra docks on the left, yeah, this is a pretty good spot for him that he wants to defend because of all the fishies and the boost to his economy. And he should be already having some boats out. Follow your mind. Ah yeah, right now he is ejecting a few of the guys in here. And even though he's quite far away on the economy actually, or rather on the points, he's like 50 points behind his teammates, which is kind of curious. He's probably going to be catching up reasonably soon with the extra shots that he's gonna get against his opponent, who is, even though, quite nicely ready, as it's going to be 3 versus 3. But since we are talking Viking against something else like a Hun, well, of course, we are going to be seeing quite a lot of extra galleys from the blue player than from his opponent because of the 20% cheaper galleys. We are also seeing a bit of a fight on the right, where Teal is arriving in Purple's base. So let's see how successful is he going to be. Probably not all that much, because we know that VH is having some extra docks in here, and of course he's quite close by, and same could be said about the yellow player who is building docks in the forefront, as of course it's going to be a pretty nice help and should be reasonably easy together with VH to defend against that, but the double is also coming to the right side, as Yannick is going to be joining in with Skull, and that's going to be one hell of an interesting battle in here. So it's looking like 2v2 on the right side between Gabi with VH and Skull together with Yannick, whereas on the left it's going to be Mars versus Follow Your Mind, and I'm not exactly sure how well that is going to go on the left. I would definitely favor the Viking player, and that means Follow Your Mind. Yeah, VH right now saying that it's going to be a double, with SlipKn0T Gabi going to Castle Age as we expected. Whereas on the left, not much happening in here, as, yeah, Mars is basically just thinking that he's going to be defending, as he cannot really have all that many boats to somehow deal with Follow Your Mind at this point, so he is basically just sticking to being in the defensive and hoping that he can survive long enough so that his teammates can potentially help him in the long run. In the meantime, though, we see that there is a bit of raiding by Skull, and Yannick attempted to basically kill all the economy by the yellow player, and that's very nicely played because, of course, even though they are trying to engage into their opponents, and they are doing a pretty good job of that, they also at the same time need to get rid of the economy of of the yellow player so that she isn't all that much of a threat once he advances into the castle with the war galleys and such. Looking at the economy, SlipKn0Ts are having 31, 28, 30 villages, whereas CZ's 29, 29, 27. And with the fishies, 4, 4, 4, all are having 4 CZs, whereas for SlipKn0Ts we have 6, 12, 9. They are quite heavily relying on the extra economy from the water, which will basically mean that they are having better eco at this point. But yeah, let's see if we can survive the pretty heavy galley rushes from CZ. So far it doesn't seem likely, to be honest, looking at the red boats together with the teal ones. As the economy from the yellow player is getting kinda hammered in here. But since she's going to be joining quite soon with the war galleys, yeah, that might be turning the game around quite substantially. VH is basically right now just buying time, trying to survive as long as possible to give all the seconds that Gabi needs to advance in the next age, and otherwise on the left, probably not much happening. And just follow your mind, trying to push through into the middle in here, whereas Mars is just waiting for the battle to come to him. And that's going to be quite soon indeed. And looking at the numbers, I would be slightly thinking that there is probably a bit more of the blue one, but since he's having kinda half-dead boats in there, he cannot really play this all that without care. So yeah, you can see that he's retreating, waiting for some extra reinforcements, which would probably mean that Mars is going to be the one retreating just about now. And let's have a look at the top, because it seems like that Gabi is losing all the economy. And oh well, she definitely is. And well, that's not really good news. She had quite a strong economy on the water, but with right now them getting killed, she's going to be dropped to just 29 millis, which is by far the least of them all, and that's, of course, yeah, not good news for her spamming ability of the war galleys, even though she has just now upgraded into them. So that should mean that CZs are going to be retreating with the extra reinforcements from VH. It's almost looking like CZs didn't really recognize or rather realize what's going to happen in here. But with Yannick still controlling the units, it seems like that he's really thinking he can still fight this. I'm not really sure that he can. I'm actually pretty certain that he cannot. So yeah, probably going to be a bit better off to advance into the next age, but so far that doesn't seem to be happening at all. He also needs to wait for the extra flank that was raiding the yellow player at the top. Seems like that they are having a bit of a sightseeing tour. Those yellow fishing boats. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it, and they should be reasonably safe, at least for a few minutes right about now. So Castle H, yet another one from SlipKn0T, so that's Mars. Whereas CZs are just now clicking Yannick. Okay, so that's the one with the most power on the water, and so that kind of makes sense, and that's going to be the most threat for the opponents, as his boats are in pretty good numbers, and if he can survive with at least those as well, basically having the opponent catch them, or rather, yeah, trying to run after them, it could be quite successful, as really. That might be a bit of a fun for him to be had. But we are of course going to be seeing a bit of fun on VH's island, as he's been boarded. And unfortunately for him, he has absolutely no idea. Let's switch into his point of view. And he has absolutely no idea. He's not going to be having an idea for quite some time longer, as there's going to be double archery range by the Japanese, and yeah, that's going to be a bit of a crossbowman raiding. Once he advances into Castle Age, of course. Oh man, this is going to be tough. Not only is the purple player right now being engaged on the water, he's going to be engaged on the land as well. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like that anything should be happening here anytime soon. And red, yep, right now arriving exactly on the battle scene in here, so that's of course going to be a bit of a fighting. Yellow arriving from the top, so red needs to be careful, and purple as well. Unfortunately right now, oh, yeah, that should be retreating, because he most definitely doesn't want VH to go to the right side, because he would just give up the position of the teal player that he has just landed him. Yeah, on the landing. Oh, that sucks. Oh my, he's going to find out. VH is going to find out. That's such a shame for him, so he definitely needs to hurry up with all the building in here. And, oh, this is about seconds. And yeah, he's going to get lucky, or is he? He seems to be too straight. He seems to be too straight. No, no, VH, no! You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. Oh no, he's not. In the end, he went the right side, and yeah, he has just discovered that he's kinda screwed, as the villagers are already in. And yeah, you can see that he's already preparing with the stable in here, so it's not going to be all that effective. And even though this is nicely played, it's not going to be as effective as he might have hoped. And he was also probably giving up the position by the scout cavalry, which is, yeah, not really ideal by Skull, but still, seems like that he's going to be able to kill at least a few villagers in here, but with the police taking them on, yeah, I'm not really sure that this landing is going to be the thing that Skull was hoping for. But really nice idea, but still the villagers are still coming in, so the extra scout cavalry is most definitely going to be needed with the release. Get rid of all of this, and with the knight, with the castle age, yeah, that should be pretty much it. As even though Skull is also in the castle age, I don't expect that he's going to be able to deal with VH just now. At the same time, on the water, since Yannick is advancing to the next age, we are seeing that he's taking the battle to his opponents. And since the size of his army is pretty big, and really Purple is just now having a bit of fun in here at the back, which is pretty much it. Siege Workshop also being built. And with Monastery, well, there still could be a bit of a fight to be had on the landing in here. But let's go back to the water, as I want to finish. Since Yannick seems to be really having the water full well in hand. At the bottom, he's scouting as well. Basically trying to have a few boats in here in case those decided to come back, and also to prevent any kind of landing that could be coming from the purple player on his allies. At the top, we see that green is still having a pretty decent amount of bounce, but same could be said about follow your mind. This is, yeah, most definitely a bit more than his opponent is having. 6+1. Oh, that's a bit of a difference actually, as Mars is having the upgrade to the armor, whereas those blue boats are not, and well, careful about that, because that could be changing quite a lot in the battle that is going to be happening reasonably soon. You can see that blue is just luring his opponent into the correct moment, and maybe even hoping for a bit of help from the red player, and yet, here we see the GG's in here, and that's a pretty good trade into the economy in here. And you can see that red is basically all over the place, and he is going to be winning everything. But much more importantly, it seems like that VH has lost too many villages. He has dropped to 42, which is not that bad really. It's not really bad at all. So I don't think that he is GGing because of the landing in here. I really think that he's GGing because of the water that is going to be lost. And that's because on the left, yeah, this battle is most definitely going for follow your mind. And in the middle, Yannick is really absolutely everywhere. And there's not much of a chance that without the presence of VH on the water, as he's having his hands full with the land, yellow player is going to be able to deal with that just by herself. Well, nicely played then, and CZs are winning the match 2-0. So let's have a look at the achievements. Nicely played, indeed. The one converted knight in there. And those feudal ages most definitely surprised their opponent as well. Yeah, 10-17, even from SlipKn0T Mars wasn't half bad. Still, the double fast ages from CZ's the last one in here as well. Yep, that was pretty strong as compared to VH. Well then, GG. So corrected.